Another beautiful morning here in the city of Lagos. Good morning to you and welcome to Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. My name is Sage Babalola. The Morning Express have begun. It actually started at 5 a.m. and we're going to be together from now up until 11 a.m. before we move to the Lunch Cafe. But before we start talking about the Lunch Cafe, let's focus on everything that the Morning Express has for you today. Of course, we start things off by providing you with information as reported on the front pages of our dailies. We have analysis. We also have a segment where we open the phone lines and take public opinion. We also have another segment on the Morning Express where we have conversations about real estate, amongst other things. And of course, we take the news headline and hand over to Eric in Limibe on the Lunch Cafe. My name is Sage Babalola, and speaking on the segment of the Morning Express where we provide you with information, we call it Trends in the Papers. Of course, we review the newspapers, we look through the front pages, we give you the stories. We have our in-house analysts give us public opinion or expert opinion on these headlines, and then we hear what you have to say, whether or not you agree or you have a new perspective to the analysis that have been provided by our in-house analyst. Again, Sage Babalola is my name. You are listening to Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos, and today we would be reviewing the Guardian newspaper, the Punch newspaper, and finally the Vanguard newspaper in no particular order. But before we get into conversations, let's welcome Fuhad Saheed to the show, who would of course be playing the role of analyst to the stories that we have for you this morning from the newspapers. Fuhad, good morning to you. Fuhad. Hello?
Good morning, Steve. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Are you able to hear me perfectly though?
Yeah, perfect.
All right, great. All right, as earlier introduced, we have the Guardian, we have Punch, and we have Vanguard newspaper. So we're going to start with the Guardian newspaper, and we have our top story here being businesses shop for alternatives, advocates incentivized recycling. That is the story, so we can get into the body of the story in itself. The writer is urge government to explore widen recycling method, not alienate industries. And this is some sort of report about the decision of Lagos State to ban the use of single-use plastic or styrofoams, if you like, in the state. And apparently this ban will take effect 3 weeks from now, and we have those in the business saying that's not enough time to mop up the styrofoam or the single-use plastics that they have in their stores. Anyways, let's reference the story in itself. Now, the ban on styrofoam and single-use plastic to curb pollution by the Lagos State government may have been welcomed by many, considering the menace they cause to the environment, but implementation becomes a challenge without the involvement of stakeholders in the value chain. Though operators, especially food vendors, may have adjusted to their plans and business models, there are concerns about the suddenness of the policy and the implications for inflation, as production cost of reusable plastic will spike. With no less than 2.5 million tons of plastic waste generated by Nigerians yearly, plastic accounts for 15% of the total waste generated in Lagos State, which much of it found in drainages and small bodies of water. So Fuhad, as much as the majority can acknowledge the fact that these styrofoams and single-use plastic constitute most of the waste that we see in Lagos State, we have those in the production industry, the production of these single-use plastics, saying the suddenness of this policy is going to be a problem. There's even the account of one particular producer in the Guardian newspaper who says they have, stock that costs millions of naira in their warehouse. What are they supposed to do with this stock? So rather than the outright ban, the Lagos State government should focus on a recycling policy such that recycling this plastic is easier rather than outrightly banning the plastic. What do you think about this idea by the producers of these single-use plastics, recycling rather than outright ban?
Well, you see, again, when it comes to government policies, I think sometimes we have to question the thinking pattern of people in government. When this ban was announced, this styrofoam ban was announced by the Lagos State government. On the surface, so brilliant. It's a major problem. Oh, people use it to clog our drainages. They don't decompose easily, and so it's a problem. But I also think that the decision to buy styrofoam should also be the reason why we should be talking about banning plastic or plastic materials outside. or for any packaged food or packaged product, because that does not also decompose easily. The reality again is that, look, let us even say we're now doing the way we decided that we're going to ban it. Fine. But were they enough notices? Because again, we have to consider business owners. Why this business? Before we make decisions like this. Yes, it's for the overall good of the state, it's for cleanliness of the state, environmental sanitation in the state and all of that. But what about business owners who probably have stock, who have a production line running into billions of naira, who will be affected by this? You know, there wasn't like, from in the next 6 months or maybe 3 months, we are going to ban the use of this particular product. It just came as a sudden. And that's why people are saying that, look, there should have been enough stakeholder engagement, enough notice, so that if you are in that line of business, you probably don't even stock up. Apart from even producers, the people that even sell, some of them have bought their stock in their shops and all of that. God knows what they're going to have to do with it now. That's on one part. The other issue is that, look, how is waste managed all over the world? Waste management, standard practice all over the world. Has Lagos State invested enough in recycle of waste and proper waste management as seen in mega cities of the world? As we speak, again, I'm not going to go into the merits of banning or no banning. I've said what I need to say on that, because I know that sometimes when you begin to question these things, there's a way people just misunderstand you. But I'm saying that, look, let us even look at the critical issue of waste management in Lagos State. I remember that when waste management was becoming a problem in Lagos, from the military era to when we got to Tʀᴇɪᴅs Road in 1999, one of the things the Lagos State government could not even do properly at that time, even under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as governor, was waste management. Lagos was extremely dirty. And so, Governor Babalola Sage came in as governor, and then the PSP idea came up, which is supposed to be a form of private sector participation thing, where people are encouraged to buy trucks, register with Loma. It was also the reason why Loma was created, and then of course you park waste, and then of course the way you are paid, and all of those kind of things. And I think at that time it became a more sustainable, reasonable thing, in waste management in Lagos. The other one I think we did not invest heavily in was how to now begin to recycle the waste. So you had dump sites that became overfilled. I remember Olusoso became a problem. The dump site somewhere, I think around Abule became a problem. The one at Igodo became a problem. They got overfilled. The environment became a problem. You had trucks, struggling to even, dump their waste. The environment that then became a problem because there was no real proper template on how to recycle, the waste that are taken from different parts of the state. And then after the governor, we had Governor Ambode who now came in with the 괂ᴅᴛᴜ arrangement, which was supposed to be like a central waste management system for the state. And I think the idea was for 괂ᴅᴛᴜ to be more organized in collection of waste and then also invest in recycle and waste management. As a young child, I remember I grew up knowing that in some parts of Lagos you had what was called incinerators. I grew up in the Butime, and for 2 weeks in the Butime, they will know that there's a place called, we used to call it place Baja. And then it was a place that had an incinerator where waste were recycled. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think any of those things exist again now. I don't think, because at that time it became a problem. People stole. It was abandoned after the Babaja Conde's government. I think the village did not follow up, and so most of the equipment was stolen and the place became abandoned. So 괂ᴅᴛᴜ also did not work because, again, I think the PSP operators had issues with that arrangement. They thought it was over centralized. They thought they were taken out of business, and then waste management, collection of waste, the primary part of waste management became a problem in Lagos State. So you had dumps, different waste in different parts of Lagos. Everywhere became dirty again. 괂ᴅᴛᴜ struggled, despite the fact that they invested heavily in equipment and all of those kind of things. And now, after Ambode, I think we came back to the PSP arrangements again. But I can tell you, that the primary part of waste management in Lagos, which is collection of waste, is still a problem as we see. Forget styrofoam or no styrofoam. I'm still saying that the idea of proper collection of waste from homes, from our streets, from our markets in Lagos as we speak until now, it's still a problem. You go to different parts of Lagos, you still find people dump waste in the middle of the road, your street, they're still there. I'm saying that the simple thing as collection of waste they have still not been able to do. So even talking about waste recycling, it will be a big problem, because if you cannot collect waste properly, how do you even talk to the next stage of recycling the waste? So you have different dump sites that are still there. We are still doing the same thing the old way, and now the only thing is to jump at one thing and say that's the problem. I'm not saying that the way we dump our things, the styrofoam thing, just imagine that we are still using the styrofoam, but we're able to properly sort our waste and collect properly. Would it be a problem? And then we have a plan to also recycle. Because there's actually no waste product that we cannot recycle. There's no product that cannot be recycled into some other things that are also useful. So again, we'll continue to talk about these things. We just think that again, people in government will pay attention to these things. They'll be more pragmatic, more reasonable, more methodical in their approach to solving problems than this knee-jerk, hurried approach that will not create bigger problems. So again, if it's not illegal to buy styrofoam, they ban it. I'm sure business owners would have to look at alternatives. Some of them will lose their money. Some of them will lose their investment. But I'm saying that the Lagos State government still needs to sit down, come up with a workable strategy on waste management in Lagos State beyond, the scratching of surface or banning styrofoam. Bigger issues when it comes to waste management in Lagos State that has to be addressed.
Well, Fuad, the producers are also asking questions about other single-use plastic like straws, the spoons, the plastic cups. They're saying, are those also going to be banned? Even the nylon bags as well. Those are also in a way single-use. So that exactly, and those are the ones. And they're saying those are the ones that people even use more frequently. At least in a day, you go through maybe 2 nylon bags, or at least the straw. It's not every time that a person goes through, the styrofoam. So what's going to happen to that? Why are they so particular about, styrofoam amongst all the other waste plastic that we have? Those are the concerns of the producers at this time.
I've just said it, because if it's about styrofoam, they will ban so many other things.
Yeah.
They would have to ban a whole lot of things. Do you know what food vendors are now doing? Say,
you bring your
plate. That do mama food once in a while.
To bring your plates now. Or you bring your plates now.
No. Apart from they now use nylon. You want to say,
But nylon is also a single-use plastic in a manner of speaking.
Okay, so what
that's what they're saying. That nylon is also plastic. It's a derivative of plastic in a way. So
so that's what food vendors are doing. So. We always call it disposable.
Yeah.
Mama put the food in disposable for me. We don't get, so I put down for nylon. And it's okay. Just put it down when I get to my office or where I'm going to. I eat what I need to eat and move on with my life. So are we going to ban nylon too? Well,
straws as well.
I think the Lagos State government, as they are banning this thing, must also think about how to recycle some of these things and also come up with a workable template on proper waste management. People are not paying attention. People in government are not paying enough attention, and I know what I'm saying. To run a city like Lagos and make it work requires dedication, requires attention. You have to be intentional. Lagos is supposed to be, again, it's a mega city because of our population, but the functionality of Lagos requires deep thinking and dedication on the part of the leaders of Lagos. I know what I'm saying. People are still questioning the governance we have now in Lagos in a lot of areas. Waste management, traffic management. Now in Lagos, boys on the streets harass motorists. I think about 2 or 3 days ago, I was passing through Ojota around 6 p.m. in the evening. It was not as dark as that. You had boys who were threatening, knocking at my windscreen, trying to pull down my side mirror, harassing that I must give them money. Right in the middle of the road, here in Lagos.
Well, you can get more information about this.
What are we talking about? And that's what happens to a lot of people. A lot of times, motorists are harassed, people are robbed on the street. I'm just saying that when it comes to governance and the functionality of Lagos as a mega city, I think we have some questions on leadership as far as Lagos is concerned. A lot of questions, actually.
Right. Okay. Like I said before, details of this particular story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. I should announce that we are live on Facebook and also on YouTube, so you can join our streaming platform, Facebook, YouTube. You can check us at Mainland 98.3 FM. We're live, so please. Okay, yeah, I do see people joining the live stream, so please follow suit and join our live stream on Facebook or YouTube, whichever platform you prefer. And you can even start dropping your submissions on there. And when it's time to start taking public opinion, I would read the messages that you have dropped there as we look through the stories on the front pages of our dailies. Now, moving forward, we also have on the front page of the Guardian 2,423 people killed, 1,872 kidnapped in 8 months under Tinubu. Fuad, just for confirmation, can you hear me? Okay, I just wanted to be sure. All right, we have, again, I'll take the headline: 2,423 people killed, 1,872 kidnapped in 8 months under Tinubu. The riders to these stories are as follows. 48 CSOs asked Tinubu to declare state of emergency on insecurity. Boko Haram's IED kills 8, injures 7 others in Borno. Sit at home. Unknown gunmen kill 2 policemen, civilians in Imo. AYGF attributes increase in violence and crime to economic crisis. Southwest governors talking with federal government on Amotekun carrying arms. Oyebanji is the one saying that. Uzodima, 8 months out of 4 years is not enough to judge Tinubu. Now, appalled by the worsening insecurity and ongoing kidnapping epidemic in the country, a coalition of civil society organizations under the auspices of the Civil Society Joint Action Group have called on President Bola Tinubu to declare a state of emergency on the current security situation in the country, claiming at least 2,423 people have been killed, while 1,872 others abducted within 8 months of Tinubu's administration. Fuad, for the sake of time management, I think that we can use the riders to the story as, direction for our conversation on this particular headline. Fuad, we have civil society organizations asking that a state of emergency be declared on security, which is not exactly breaking news. It's a call that has become very, very famous. But looking at this riders for example, in Borno State, these bandits have come up with explosive devices, improvised explosive devices, and they've been able to use it to kill 7 people in Borno State, I believe yesterday. In Imo State, we still have the sit at home, and this is still encouraging this unknown gunmen to kill civilians. But yesterday as well, I think 2 policemen were killed. Now, we also have here where the people who are saying 8 months is not enough to do an appraisal on the administration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and even the security challenges were inherited. It's not like it really started under him, despite the fact that under this administration we have a death toll that is over 2,000 and an abduction figure that is over 1,000. With all of this information, Fuad, how would you analyze this particular story?
Well, see, like every other thing at this time, the economy, food, inflation, forex, we are not in a very good place when it comes to security of Nigeria. Insecurity has become a big problem. And again, I think we know the problem. The problem is that, look, insecurity is widespread across Nigeria. As we speak in State, 2 monarchs were killed by suspected kidnappers. Monarchs, they were coming from an location attacked by supposed or suspected kidnappers, and 2 of them were killed immediately. Monarchs in State. And as we speak, the whole of that state is in a form of crisis. There's a serious outcry. Everybody's questioning what is going on. So we have a situation where the things we think was far away from us is now close to home. And we now need to now pay serious attention to it. Now, let me start with Governor Opunzodima, who is talking about 8 months or not 8 months. You see, the reality is this. You can have clear timelines as to how you want to judge the government. But the reality is that there are things that have no timeline. One of those things that you cannot give a timeline to is security in the land. the security of life and property, you got to give timelines to it. Because that in itself is the primary purpose of government, as enshrined in the Constitution. You don't understand what I'm saying, please.
I'm with you.
You can tell people that, when it comes to power, okay, maybe just give us 6 months. But can you tell people that, don't worry, give us 1 year to be able to secure it?
I doubt that.
So it's not about, you don't understand what I'm saying.
I understand.
Security is the primary purpose. Security of lives and properties of the people is the primary purpose of government, and there can never be timelines to it. Because from day one, you have to come up with a model to secure the people. Every other thing can now come, and those ones you can begin to give time like, okay, the forest crisis in 6 months, or in the next 12 months, okay, the refineries will come up in 6 months, but it can't be security. Because that has to be an instant job of government, the primary purpose. Now, see, people are instead of they just keep criticizing the justice forces. I think we've gotten to the point where we now should be talking about the solution to this problem. I agree that we should be talking about declaring a state of emergency, but that's just semantics for me. See, in different okay, when you declare a state of emergency on insecurity in Nigeria, what are you going to do differently? That should be the question. So we need to first look at short-term solutions. I think this is the time for governors in the different states of Nigeria to roll up their sleeves and also look at internal arrangements to secure their different states and communities. If you understand what I'm saying. There's a reason why security votes go to our governors. I'm talking about short-term solution now. This is the time for them not to continue to pocket those security votes and deploy them for what is necessary. And that is looking at local arrangements to secure our different areas. Just last week, some PDP of Southwest were kidnapped on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. The chairman of the PDP in Lagos and some people were kidnapped. Mr. Tʀᴇ. So it's not far from us. So in Lagos State, in Ogun State, you can even look at regional arrangements. People are saying that, look, because Governor Jᴏɪᴜ Babalola of Oyo State is really committed to Amotekun and is funding it and equipping them. That's why in Oyo State, the news of insecurity has not been as widespread as we are now getting it in other parts of the Southwest.
Fuad, please allow me interrupt you briefly.
Amotekun to a great extent is helping out.
Yeah, Fuad.
Security, yes.
Let me interrupt you briefly. This is here that Oyebanji, I believe that's the Ekiti State governor, he's saying that the Southwest governors are still talking with the federal government to allow Amotekun to actually carry arms. They think that would, help the situation. What do you think about that conversation as well?
Before carrying arms, we agree. That has always been the conversation. Remember that when your war killing happened, Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, God bless his soul, kept talking about the need for balance of power.
Yeah.
And the need to allow Amotekun to carry arms. I'm coming there.
Okay.
A lot of conversation on insecurity that we must continue to have. But at least in the minimum, let us have, even if it's the game gun, they will carry it. It is a form of security. They say our bread is better than chinchi.
Yeah.
It is still better to have them with game guns and cutlasses and whatever they can use, whether it is stamp or anything. They are not having them at all. Because again, Governor Yebani is talking now. The Governor Yebani has to wait till when monarchs are killed to now begin to say this. We keep talking about the fact that we are just reactionary. We keep reacting. We are not ahead of the criminals. So I'm saying that, look, because again, these criminals don't just operate as spirits. They come somewhere. They create these plans from somewhere. Some of them are in the bush. What of our forest rangers, the farmers, the hunters, Amotekun, the OPC, Agbekoya? We have them in the Southwest. This is the time to rally these locals together. And this is a temporary measure to fighting insecurity in the land. I'm talking of the Southwest. The Southeast can also do that. The North Central can also do that. The Northwest can also do that. The Northeast can also come up with something. Local arrangement, at least for now. And we must also involve our traditional institutions. This is not the time for traditional rulers to be dancing up and down and be told. This is the time for them to also get involved with security in their different communities. Because again, there's nowhere that is not governed by traditional ruler in Nigeria. No place that is not under a form of traditional rulership in Nigeria. And so this is the time for the state governors to now think back and understand that every other thing does not matter now than the security of lives and properties of the people in their different states. And start this local arrangement, get them involved, deploy money, put some of them on some stipend, salary, equip them the best way they can equip them. If it is game gun or all these shotgun that is permissible for now, let's work with that. At least as a temporary measure. And then the bigger one, the more sustainable one, say, whether anybody likes it or not, the more sustainable one going forward is for us to restructure the security arrangement of the country. We just talked about, talking to the federal government to allow Amotekun to carry arms.
Yeah.
If we have restructured our security structure, where states are allowed to have state policing structures, where local government can also have something like a county police, local government kind of police and city policing arrangement, we will not be begging the federal government for them to carry weapons. At that point, they can bear weapons to protect the people. Take the current policing security structure we have in the country is not working. If it didn't work yesterday, it's not working now, it doesn't mean it's going to work tomorrow. Until we do the right thing. You can't be doing the same thing the same way and expect a different result. I think we've gotten to that point where we just have to assess it. Yes, the fear of most people is that, if there are state police or local government police, the indiscipline amongst our governors and the political class will subject them to abuse. Are we saying that the current policing structure is not also abused by politicians? So we have to choose what we want to do and what we want to achieve, really. Because as it has gotten to that point where we just have to devolve these things, the states should be able to run their own policing structure. So when there's a problem in the state, we are able to accuse the governor of failing his responsibility. But now it is easy for these governors to deflect on their responsibility of securing the lives and property of their people because of the centralized policing structure we have. And that is why people are waiting. For President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is a major advocate before he became president of true federalism, even when he was in the 20s during the Dinadeco days. One of the major proponents of restructuring, one of the major proponents of true federalism is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now that he's president, people are waiting to see whether he's not going to do what he has always advocated for. We know it's not going to be easy. There are going to be constitutional amendments, legal fireworks, but he can start the process as the leader of the nation now. Because maintaining the status quo, because of maybe political gains and the power that comes with it, it's easy for any president to look away from centralizing the security structure of the country because of the powers that comes with it. It is easy for a president to enjoy that kind of enormous power. You control everything, you decide everything. You are able to give orders, like the one we saw in Rivers State, where presidential directive is given to a governor and it's still getting. But what would be the legacy that the president will be leaving behind? I think this is the time for us. And that's why Afenifere, Nadeco, Ohani, the well-meaning Nigerians are already telling the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, don't look at your personal gain. Don't look at 2027. Don't look at politics. Look at leaving a long-lasting legacy after you've left the position as president. And this is the time to restructure Nigeria, restructure our security situation for a more sustainable, secure society in Nigeria. That's it for me.
Right. Thank you very much, Fuad. This is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. If you're just joining us, this is Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. You are listening to Trends in the Papers. My name is Jᴏɪᴜ Babalola. Fuad Saheed is joining us via the phone lines, and together we are looking at the stories reported on the front pages of our dailies. We have been talking about the stories reported on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, and please be aware that you can join the show via our streaming platform on Facebook at Mainland 98.3 FM. That's how you find us on Facebook, or YouTube also at Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't forget to interact with us via X or Twitter if you like, at Mainland FM. Moving forward, we have other stories here. The Guardian newspaper decided to put the spotlight on Ogun State in today's paper, and the headline is Ogun, from rising industrial hub to den of cultists, criminals. That's the headline. The story in itself says, in the last 3 years, incessant criminal occurrences have placed Ogun State in the category of state with the highest rate of crimes in Nigeria. Considered one of the most peaceful southwest states in the past, recent police reports indicated that a total number of 2,735 suspects were arrested for various criminal activities ranging from robbery, kidnapping, rape, rituals, fraudster, Yahoo Plus, and others in 2021. And the most recent figures show that the menace might have doubled in prevalence, though the State Police Command, in collaboration with other security agencies, have claimed that they are on top of the situation. It goes on and on and on with figures, the number of criminals that we have. In 2021, about over 2,000 suspects were arrested for all of the crimes that I listed below. Well, the story also goes on ahead to detail, the hope and the expectations and the projections that experts had when it comes to Ogun State, considering the fact that they are very, very close to Lagos, and they would expect that they reap some of the economic development of Lagos State. It would, rub off on them. But unfortunately, they're always in the news for a number of, dastardly crimes. I know how you feel about Ogun State so far. Let's just get this done and over with.
You know what, see, Ogun State is not ready. And it still boils down to governance. I've said it, it's in my own opinion, Sage. In the southwest, for me, the governor with the least performance, the worst performance is the governor of the state. And the records are there. Infrastructure, zero. Governance, zero. You find people in the state asking whether they have a governor. And I'm not surprised that the Guardian has highlighted the fact that Ogun State, which is supposed to be a state that's supposed to stop. From what is happening in Lagos. People would not mind staying in different parts of Ogun State. In fact, that's what happens now. You have a lot of outside locations in Lagos that are in Ogun State where people stay and work in Lagos. But all of those potentials have not materialized into good governance in Ogun State. That people can now say, this is what it's supposed to be for us. Instead, almost on a daily basis, when you open the papers, the story you get from Ogun State, apart from reports of bad roads, people suffering, different parts of Ogun State and all of that, there's also the problem of crime. The rate of crime in Ogun State is unbelievable. They wasted them. I remember that almost in the last 2-3 years, we kept reporting cases of ritual killing. Ritual killing. Almost every day you go to the paper somewhere in Abeokuta, somewhere in Jagamu, somewhere, ritual killing is reported. It's not small boys. There was of the issue of the Yahoo thing. Somebody even said that the whole of Jagamu, all those Jagamu down to the boat day, because it's the home of advanced fraud, 419ers, that you now call Yahoo. And then added to that is the issue of courtesy. Remember, I think it was sometime last year that there was a serious court clash in the whole of that Ogun State, mostly Jagamu, Jᴏɪᴜ area, where they were killing themselves almost on a daily basis. So if you aggregate all of that and understand why the government has decided to focus on Ogun State, and then you ask yourself, where is the governor in all of this conversation? I'm sorry. I was schooled in Ogun State, so I know what I'm saying. I'm from Lagos, but I know Ogun State very well because I schooled in Ogun State at the time. I knew when ᴏᴜᴛᴜᴜ we're talking about 1999 till date. Even from the period of Sam Ewan, the military administrator. And then when ᴏᴜᴜᴜ was there as governor of Ogun State. And you will not see this widespread insecurity crime. I remember that one of the things ᴏᴜᴜᴜ did very well as governor at that time was the issue of rural infrastructure, roads into rural areas. And then when Daniel came, and then of course, here and there, the first time people said he did very well, second time the performance was not so good, but at least you don't find it. Level of insecurity. And then the man with the long card came, Governor Bikila Amosu. He also did his own. I must say that whether you like it or not, in terms of infrastructure, there was appreciable progress in Ogun State under Amosu. And he did some projects that people have thought were too much. He needed to approve it as it. But under this governor, I'm sorry, sorry. There's a 4.5 kilometer road somewhere between WဃÇ and Lagos State and Ogun State. He's been on that road for the first 4 years. He didn't complete the road. The road is still on good. they are still on that road as we speak. And different parts of the state. And then added to that is the widespread insecurity in the state that the government has not been able to do anything about. So, again, the thing is, I just think that when it comes to governance, Ogun State has a serious problem. I don't know, serious problem. Like in the Southwest, serious problem.
Well, in a related story, EFCC arraigns impeached Ogun Speaker over 2.5 billion naira fraud. So the impeached Speaker of Ogun State House of Assembly, Olakunle Oluomo, was yesterday arraigned in the Federal High Court sitting in Oke-Musan, Abeokuta. Others arraigned alongside the Speaker were the Clerk of the House, Adeyemo Adedeji, and the Director of Finance, Oladayo Samuel. So the matter is still in court, and they are alleged to have, misappropriated about 2.5 billion naira of the Ogun State.
I think the case was adjourned because the prosecuting lawyer did not show up.
Yeah, and also,
You see the problem. You have arranged people, your lawyer did not show up. EFCC lawyer did not show up.
They would have to adjourn. Some people would say, and this is not in the report, by the way, some would say, it's just tactics that legal luminaries use to stall cases most times when they don't show up. It's just a plan to drag out the case for longer than usual. But anyways, that's the story.
Yes, he's been arraigned. He's been arraigned. He's also one of the honorables in the local government with the worst kind of vote. That is for local government, the entire for local government. You understand? But again, his case has been there even before this impeachment. We're having this back and forth with the EFCC of misappropriation of funds. Now he has been arraigned. Unfortunately, the case has to be adjourned because even the EFCC did not show up. But it's an interesting one. We'll wait to see what comes out of this particular one. But we're talking about over 2 billion naira here. You understand what I'm saying? And one would think that how would the speaker on his own have access to that kind of money?
Exactly, it's billion. It's not millions. It's 2.5 billion.
There's a big question around that.
But a lot of money.
The case is in court, so we just wait to see what happens eventually.
Yeah. Page 4 and page 7 is where you find both stories respectively. Finally, on the front page of The Guardian, we have Nigeria, Ghana lead West Africa's identity fraud cases. Now, Nigeria and Ghana have been listed as leading countries in West Africa for identity fraud. The 2024 Digital Identity Fraud in Africa report by Smile ID, a leading identity verification startup in West Africa, said most fraudulent documents were spotted because of failed security features, indicating a significant presence of counterfeit ID documents. So, Fuad, this IT company or this ID verification company put together a list of countries, where they see a prevalence of identity fraud, and Nigeria and Ghana, happen to top that list for African in West Africa, basically. And they're saying that thanks to new technology that they're using now, it's easy to spot when these documents are fake, unlike before where they're usually able to successfully use this fake documents to access certain things. But now it's easy to spot it, and Nigeria and Ghana top the list of those who use fake documents to access certain facilities and even maybe travel out of the country, amongst other things. Well,
again, this kind of report does not do anything good to the image of the country.
Yeah.
You understand? That's the reason why, we now find it extremely difficult to travel. People question everything. They don't even trust us. To present their main documents, they are still querying it. When people are denied visas now, you see all manner of ridiculous reasons given by, consulars for not granting visas to people because they don't even trust anything we are doing. And these kinds of reports will further, cement the apprehension of these people against us. That look, these guys can't be trusted. You understand what I'm saying? But it is what it is. We know some of these things too. That's the problem here. We have a lot of our young ones who have gone into this Yahoo thing, which in itself is a part of identity theft, criminality when it comes to tapping into people's documents, stealing people's money, and all of that. But it is what it is. Some of these things, and we just hope that we get to the point where our young ones would become more fussy with what they do with their lives and going into things like this.
All right. More information is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Now we're about to move to the Punch newspaper on trends in the papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. Mainland 98.3 FM is how you find us on both streaming platforms. My name is Jᴏɪᴜ Babalola. I'm still talking to Fuhad Saheed, and like I said, we're about to move now to the Punch newspaper. The top story on the front page of the Punch is still something on the kidnapping epidemic. They went further to do some sort of sum total of the kidnappings that happened both under the former administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari and the current administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the sum total of kidnappings that happened apparently was about 17,000 under both Buhari and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at this time. Under Buhari it was 90%, under Tinubu as of 8 months is 10%. And there's also the story that highlights the abduction of and the killing of the Ekiti monarchs, the one you referenced earlier. Yes. So that's page 2 and 9 of the Punch newspaper. Now, speaking of security, there's a headline here: Federal Government, United States sign MOU to train police special squad commanders. That's on page 7. Let's look at the story. Now, we have the federal government and the American government have signed a memorandum of understanding for the training of the commanders of the Police Special Intervention Squad to tackle banditry and other raging crimes in the country. The Inspector General of Police, Olukayode Egbetokun, on Monday inaugurated the training program in Abuja in partnership with the United States Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs. So apparently this special squad had been established in 2 territories, which was Plateau and Abuja, following the rise in banditry and kidnapping in both places. But they intend to spread this across other states, but they decided to give priority to Plateau State for understandable reasons, and the FCT. But I mean, Fuad, what do you think about this security collaboration? The United States now hopefully train us on how to use certain sophisticated weapons. Do you think this would have some sort of positive impact on our stance on security?
Yes, definitely. It's good to collaborate and train, because again, training is also key, when it comes to efficiency and effectiveness. So it's nice that we are collaborating for training and all of that. Nice idea, very good one. But as we're looking at the United States for training of the police and all of that, can we also look at the policing structure in the United States and borrow it and also adopt it? Because when you train, but the foundation is faulty, the structure is faulty, you still don't achieve anything. You don't understand what I'm saying.
I'm with you.
There's a structural problem. So, because again, you must also first address the foundational issues. It is good that we are looking at the US for training, support, and all of that. But we should not, because again, if the structure is bad, there can't be effectiveness, there can't be efficiency. So, as we are looking to the US to train, can we also look at their policing structure? How do they run their own policing system in the US? Because we operate a federal system of government that is borrowed heavily from the way the United States government is structured. So can we also look at the way they run their own policing system and then adopt it and then fit it into our own local peculiarity? Because it is one thing to train, you have a terrible structure, nothing will change. Have we not been training before? Or let us even say there are new things that we need to learn. But you can learn, but you must also work on your structure. We think that the current policing structure of the country is not working and may not work. And it will not even work until we structure it.
Okay, well, more information on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. Now I'm moving to this business report here. Naira falls to an all-time low on official window, trades at 1,348 Naira to a dollar. Now, the Naira fell to an all-time low of 1,348.63 Naira to a dollar at the Nigeria Autonomous Foreign Exchange Market on Monday. This signifies a 51.21% fall from 891.90 Naira to a dollar. The national currency closed at the official market last Friday, according to data from FMDQ Securities Exchange. So, Fuad, those who mostly quotes the black market, they're already used to this spike. I mean, it's almost 1,500, but on the official market, apparently this is the worst fall on the official market, right? We've seen terrible, drop in the black market, but it's irrelevant, basically. But for this is the worst, according to the report that we have seen, with the naira to the dollar at the official market, 1,348 naira to $1. I don't have the right question. I don't know what other question to ask for. I don't know how else we can approach this. I'm lost.
It choke.
It's true. I cannot breathe because I don't know.
See, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm just not feeling fine.
Because even if you find a way to ask the right question, I might not even have the right answer.
I don't know what to do.
Because I really don't know how we're going to address this. Well, yesterday I was having a conversation with all my guys on this forex crisis. And he was making some suggestions as to how maybe we are looking at short-term, long-term solutions now. That look, yes, all of this idea of moving to production, working on our refineries to make all our refineries work, diversifying the economy to agriculture, and looking at the extractive industry, and all of those kind of things so that we can earn forex. These are long-term measures that cannot happen overnight. But what can we do in the short term to arrest this situation? It's a complete free fall phase. And it's scary. We are looking at 2,000. Hope will not wake up one day and hear that the dollar is 3,000 to naira.
Please don't let us wake up and hear it.
Don't
let us wake up and hear it, please.
No. What are we? Look, that was the way it started. We're saying 1,000. God forbid it will never happen. Now we are chasing 2,000. Hope we're not going to chase 5,000 one day. It's not alarming, but that's the reality. And so when we're talking about the short-term solution, I think what we can do, again, luckily, we got a report yesterday that the president has now directed the NMPC.
Oh, yeah, the CBN or something would be in charge of the crude oil sale.
Taking care of profit of crude sale.
Yeah.
The dollar should go straight to the CBN, not to the NMPC first and then remitted, to the CBN. That now payments must directly go to the CBN for accountability. Because one of the easiest ways that we can create some liquidity in terms of forex earnings is to look at the sale of crude, which is majorly domiciled with the NMPC. So people are asking, the monies we are making, the sales of crude, the dollars we are earning, where is it going to? Why are we not accounting for it? I got a report, I think some 2 days ago too, that in the law of 2022, the NMPC did not even remit anything to the country. Because at that time, the conversation was that as they are making money from the sale of crude, they were putting it into a position of PMS.
Yeah.
You see the way we've run the country aground. You can see that what we are suffering today has also been created as a result of misgovernance. Year in, year out, years back. Now we are suffering it seriously. When the house keeps cracking, like when there's a crack in the house. You see one, you see two, you see three. Instead of you to quickly amend and solve the problem, we kept patching the house. Now the house is crumbling on us.
Well,
and here we are now.
Well, Fuad, because of our time, because of time, we have to move very quickly. That's on page 26 of the Punch newspaper. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to run through the rest of the headlines as we are racing against the clock. But also on page 26, we have here Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger's exit may weaken $277 billion ECOWAS trade. So apparently, just very briefly, as you know, I think the common denominator of these three countries is the fact that they export gold. They also have other mineral resources. So this report is indicating that their pullout from the ECOWAS would cause a drop in the amount of trade that we have in the ECOWAS. We'll be losing out on proceeds of this export of mineral resources from these three countries. But conversations are still going on about the exit and the legality of the method that they chose to exit the ECOWAS. We'll have further conversations about that later. Here we have lawmakers accuse Fubara of unlawful conduct. Governors warn pro-Wike appointees. For some of the commissioners that resigned, the Wike supporters, apparently, I think 7 of them have been reinstated. Fubara is telling them, if you try to jeopardize my government, you will see. Right? And he appointed some people that the lawmakers don't like. So there's that back and forth. That
almost on a daily basis now, the lawmakers keep bashing the governor.
Yeah. They don't like him very much.
The way they talk about their governor now in that state, you wonder whether they even see him as anything.
Well,
they question everything and anything now. Every day they are making statements, bashing him, question 괊ᴇ the team that we never saw when Wike was governor.
Well,
now the house every day congratulates the governor, talk down on him, question everything. I don't think they even see him as a governor. I'm sure in their mind, Wike is the governor of Rivers State. He's the governor of Rivers State.
well, that's that particular story. That's actually everything for Punch newspaper. Thank you so much for coming along with us, Fuad. We appreciate your expert opinion on these stories. We're going to go on a break at 8:40. We would be back. That's when we open the phone lines to take your contribution on the stories that have been read out to you this morning on Trends in the Papers. Sage Babalola is my name. You're still listening to the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM.
Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos.
The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the worrisome increase in the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The FSRCC and NBC hereby advises the general public to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Make sure to verify the licensing status of such companies and schemes on this website. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call 0700 225 5226, 0800 225 5226, or +234 817 665 6273. Let's work together to uphold